Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And breaking news this noon, just minutes before this newscast, a Robeson County man charged with kidnapping and murdering a 13-year-old girl pleaded guilty. How this hearing could bring an end to a 6-year-old case.
And it's even colder outside today. We've got the Raleigh Christmas Parade coming up this weekend. I'll let you know what the wind chill will be for the start of the parade coming up.
And 2 men charged with the deadly shooting outside a Durham restaurant appeared before the judge today. When we expect the 3rd suspect to head to court.
With breaking news this noon, in just the last few minutes, a Robeson County man pleaded guilty to the murder of 13-year-old Hanya Aguilar.
Michael McClellan is charged with kidnapping, raping, and killing Aguilar 6 years ago. Her body was found weeks later. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center right now. Michelle, what do we know about this court appearance?
So this is the plea agreement here. We just got this in. A plea agreement has been reached in the murder of Hanya Aguilar. This is her. Michael McClellan was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after he pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. He kidnapped and murdered the 13-year-old on the morning of November 5th in 2018, taking her from her driveway, killing her, and later disposing of her body. His guilty plea also includes charges involving 2 unrelated victims as well. The Lumberton Police Department says they are grateful to bring justice to Hanya and her family. They said justice has been served.
All right, Michelle, thanks for that update. Also new this noon, 2 of the 3 men charged in connection to a woman's death outside a cookout restaurant in Durham appeared in court.
The Durham County Sheriff's Office announced the arrests earlier this morning. Alexander Carlton Jr. and Calvin Spence Jr. are charged with murder. A 3rd person, Jamar McKnight, was also arrested on a misdemeanor charge. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with what happened in court and what we know about the case. Noah.
Renee, the sheriff's office identified the victim as this case as Devicia Lee. She was 29 years old. Around 9:30 this morning, deputies announced they arrested 3 more men. That includes 23-year-old Alexander Carlton Jr. and Calvin Spence Jr. He's 18. They're both from Durham. Morrisville police took a 3rd person into custody named 18-year-old Jamari McKnight. That shooting had happened in the cookout over on South Miami Boulevard in Durham. Carlton Jr. and Spencer Jr. appeared in court about an hour ago. They're both charged with multiple felonies here, including first-degree murder. At Carlton Jr.'s appearance, the DA said he conspired with Spencer Jr. to murder Lee. A warrant here says they both fired shots while she was walking away from them. Lee's father, David, lives in Miami. He spoke with WRL's Willie Danley after the shooting happened. He says the 29-year-old recently moved to North Carolina because of a job transfer.
I mean, this is not, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Truly, I don't get it. I wish they would just left my daughter down here and just not let her go up there and don't transfer.
Spencer Jr.'s father did speak in court saying he's a good kid, asking for a bond. Both suspects received no bond. That 3rd suspect, McKnight, is currently in the Wake County Jail. He's expected to appear before a judge around 1:30 this afternoon.
Noah, thanks for that update. The colder weather is here just in time for the Raleigh Christmas Parade, and Kat Campbell is in the WRL Severe Weather Center to let us know how we can plan for our weekend.
It's really going to be a nice day for the Raleigh Christmas Parade. You've got that festive chill in the air, but it's not as cold as it could be. We've definitely had some colder years. At 8 a.m., if you're participating in the parade lining up, it'll be about 44 degrees. 9 a.m. is when our coverage starts right here on WRAL, 48 degrees. By 10 a.m., the parade in full motion, right around 50. And then as Santa rolls around, it'll be in the mid-50s. The winds begin to settle down by the late morning hours, but there will be a bit of a wind chill in the morning. So that 44 at 8 a.m. may actually feel more like the upper 30s at times. At 9 a.m., closer to the start of the parade, our wind chills should be in the low to mid 40s. So you'll be glad that you've got your jacket. Cold enough for some festive hot chocolate as well. The wind chill outside this hour is at 43 degrees. It's pretty chilly out there with the wind. 38 is the current wind chill in Roxborough. It feels like 44 in Fayetteville and just feeling like 40 degrees in Goldsboro. The winds will gradually settle down as we head into the nighttime hours, and that's what's going to allow temperatures to dip back into the low 40s tonight. But tomorrow afternoon, we will begin to warm up again. 60 degrees for the high tomorrow, 65 on Sunday. And Sunday, we should get to see more sunshine. It'll be a beautiful day. Coming up, some of us are first freeze of the season. I'll let you know where the growing season has officially ended.
Kat, thanks. The kickoff to the holiday season this weekend will feel like the holidays, temperature-wise. And with the 80th annual Raleigh Christmas Parade tomorrow morning, this year will be a little different. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is downtown right now. And Sean, there are a number of new safety protocols in place for people taking part in the parade.
Yeah, that's right. And when the parade comes down Hillsborough Street right here behind me tomorrow, the city is hoping that these new safety protocols will put people's minds at ease so that they can focus on the parade to kick off the festive season after the tragedy here 2 years ago. You may remember Haley Brooks was killed during the parade in 2022 when she was struck by a truck. This will be the first time since then that vehicles are allowed back in the parade. Part of the new safety rules include inspections on those vehicles and the drivers having to be a certain age. Plus, all participants have to sign a waiver releasing any legal responsibility from the city of Raleigh should something happen. And safety is a big reason. Theater in the Park Managing Director Brent Simpson is paring down their participation in this year's parade. Their usual 65-person cast of A Christmas Carol will be whittled down to 10 of the biggest characters on a float.
You know, safety was a concern for us. You know, our folks were pretty near the action that happened that morning. But I will say this about the Greater Raleigh Merchants Association. I think they've really stepped up.
And this year's parade will see more than 100 vehicles, antique cars, and floats, in addition to 50 walking groups, all of which had to sign that protective waiver. Now, every year, organizers do hold a debriefing meeting of sorts after every single one of these parades, but there's going to be a heavier focus on that moving forward, so they can take lessons from this parade and roll it over into next year, so each parade will be safer than the last. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Now, if you plan on watching the parade in person, bundle up and stake out your spot early. WRAL's Ken Smith tells us where to park for free and the best way to maneuver around traffic.
The Christmas parade, always a festive time in downtown Raleigh. So let's start with a few reminders, starting with the parade route. Of course, it starts at St. Mary Street, works its way down Hillsborough Street, working way down Fayetteville Street, and ending at Lenore Street, right near the Raleigh City Plaza. And if you're concerned about parking, know this. All the city-owned parking decks are free tomorrow, and you can find those on Wilmington Street and other nearby streets. And you'll know them this year because of the huge yellow balloons out in front of them, so you won't have any problem parking there. Listen, veterans know this. You arrive early to stake out your best spot. And keep in mind, the street closures will start at 6 a.m. and those roads will reopen at 2 p.m. And because of the thousands of people expected in downtown Raleigh, expect some heavy traffic.
And if you can't make it downtown or you don't want to deal with the traffic, you can watch the parade from the comfort of your home. Watch the live broadcast with us tomorrow morning on WRAL. We will bring you all the area marching bands, local businesses, dazzling floats, and everyone's favorite, Santa Claus. Don't miss a minute of the excitement, including special guests and musical performances by Gene Jolly. So get into the holiday spirit, cozy up with some hot chocolate, and watch all the festivities tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. on WRAL. Jeff and I will see you there.
And meantime, 'tis the season. RDU is preparing for the busy Thanksgiving holiday travel season. The airport broke another holiday travel record over Labor Day. More than 188,000 passengers went through RDU during that weekend. Nearly 1.5 million people went through RDU Airport last month. And RDU expects a high volume of people over the Thanksgiving holiday. In 2023, the airport welcomed more than 400,000 Thanksgiving travelers.
Today, parents can learn about Durham Public Schools' plans to address bus driver shortages. The school boards approved temporary rotational bus service. The new plan ensures 4 days of service per week for families with children who ride the bus. Leaders will hold a meeting this evening at 5 at the Fuller Administration Building Boardroom on Cleveland Street. The new schedule begins December 2nd and goes through December 20th.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, a civil jury in Ireland has just found MMA fighter Conor McGregor sexually assaulted a woman in December of 2018. This is the woman that we're talking about here. This is Nikita. She claimed that it happened in a hotel penthouse after a party back on December 9th of 2018. She sued McGregor and said he brutally raped and battered her, leaving her heavily bruised and suffering from PTSD. McGregor testified he never forced her to do anything and and that she had fabricated her allegations. The woman said McGregor threatened to kill her and put her in a chokehold, but he says that is all a big lie.
Today, the I-440 interchange with New Bern Avenue officially becomes the Coach George Williams interchange. The Department of Transportation announced in July Williams would get that honor. Williams coached the men's and women's track and field teams at St. Augustine's University for 44 years. He led them to 39 national titles. He was also the head coach of the
6 foreign tourists, including one American, died at a popular hostel for backpackers in Laos. Investigators believe they drank alcohol tinted with methanol, a clear substance that can be toxic for humans who drink as little as 1 ounce. Here's NBC's Janice Mackey-Fryer.
It's a tragedy sending a shudder through parents around the world. A suspected mass poisoning at a travel hostel in Laos has claimed another life. 6 victims so far who died after drinking vodka that was laced with lethal alcohol. 19-year-old Holly Bowles from Australia had been fighting for her life since being airlifted to a hospital in Thailand. Her parents and Australian authorities confirming she died Friday. She had been backpacking with her best friend, 19-year-old Bianca Jones, who died on Thursday. A British lawyer and 2 women from Denmark have also died. An American man is among the victims, but the State Department has not yet confirmed his identity. How the spirits were tainted with methanol and why are now the focus of an investigation. Police have ordered the closure of the hostel in Vang Ven, a town popular for partying and adventure sports, where guests have been given free shots at the hostel bar. What authorities have been able to gather is that the Australian women had gone out for the night and then were found sick in their rooms when they failed to check out. Officials in Thailand, where they received emergency treatment, confirmed that Ms. Jones died of brain swelling from high levels of methanol. It's a toxic alcohol used in things like antifreeze and paint thinner, but it can also be added to liquor to increase its potency, but causes blindness, liver damage, and death. The hostel owner has been detained. It isn't clear how many more people have fallen ill. The State Department has now issued a health alert for Laos, warning travelers to be careful. Janice Mackey-Fryer, NBC News, Beijing.
Today marks 61 years since the assassination of then President John F. Kennedy. JFK was shot while touring Dallas in an open convertible limousine, November 22, 1963. Former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy was with him, along with then Texas Governor John B. Connally Jr. and his wife. The governor was also wounded during the incident. Officials blamed the shooting on Lee Harvey Oswald. JFK is buried at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. DEA agents say weaker fentanyl pills may be helping drive down overdose deaths in the United States. About 5 out of every 10 fentanyl pills that the agency tested this year had lethal doses of the synthetic opioid painkiller fentanyl. That is down from about 7 in 10 pills last year. According to the CDC, overdose deaths dropped nearly 15% between this June and last. Experts caution other factors, such as a person's tolerance for the drug and genetic characteristics, could contribute to the drop in deaths.
New York City police are searching for a man accused of stealing a gold-plated rose from a Manhattan church. Police say the man avoided security and was able to remove a $3,000 gold-plated metal rose from the memorial. Surveillance video, you could see the man leaving the scene and then walking down the street. The metal flower was the centerpiece of a memorial at the church, and their longtime pastor, Father Michael Judge, was crushed by falling debris while praying for victims and rescues on the morning of the 9/11 attacks.
We consider this an act of desecration. Not just myself, but I got phone calls and people around all day today. We pray for that person, hope that they get some guidance, some healing. But what he did was wrong.
The memorial rests on a base of twisted steel left over from the wreckage of the World Trade Center.
An emperor penguin that ended up on an Australian beach has been released into the Indian Ocean. The penguin spent 20 days being treated. Parks and Wildlife Service says it gained nearly 8 pounds during its recovery. Emperor penguins are only found in the wilds of Antarctica, but they have been known to cover up to 1,000 miles on foraging trips that last up to a month. Glad he's back where he belongs.
Right now, take a look at this live look over Dorothea Dix Park and the clouds stealing the show there. So pretty. Meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Now this morning, though, we started off very chilly.
Yes, we did. We got so close to our first freeze of the season at RDU, but many of our surrounding sites around Wake County, Apex, Cary, Knightdale saw freezes this morning. The airport, though, where we keep our record books, not quite there yet. Previously, the coldest night was November 17th when we had 38 degrees. So this was much cooler. Of course, we are expecting to get even colder than that as we head into the month of December. There are some signs of some much colder weather early on in the month. Our low temperatures town by town today, 29 in Roxborough, 28 was our coldest spot actually in Southern Pines, 33 in Fayetteville, Goldsboro, RDU, 32 in Durham, and 34 in Rocky Mount. That was early this morning. Tonight shouldn't be quite as cold. But because so many areas did see a freeze this morning, the growing season has officially ended for all of the Triangle, including Wake County, the Sandhills. The growing season has not yet ended in our eastern counties. This actually includes Franklin County, as well as Johnston County, Rocky Mount, Fayetteville. The growing season hasn't ended there. What this means, aside from the growing season, is that the areas in blue where the growing season has ended, you will not see any more freeze warnings or frost advisories just because it's winter now, and we wouldn't expect to see them that much longer. But our eastern counties will still see those alerts in the coming days. Lenovo, let's take a live look outside right now. 47 degrees in Durham as well as Raleigh. 49 in Fayetteville. It's cold and it's breezy. I mean, as soon as you step outside and the wind hits, you can really feel it. I actually am headed outside later today to preview the Raleigh Christmas Parade, and I had to dig out some gloves to throw in my bag. I think I'll be glad I have them once the sun sets. Tonight we've got tree lightings, Waverly Place, as well as Raleigh. Temperatures should be in the mid to upper 40s for those tree lightings. A little bit of a wind chill with a west wind around 10 miles per hour. Let's take a look at our wind gusts. Winds gusting to about 22 miles per hour in the Triangle, 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Fayetteville, a 19-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Roxborough. It's a blustery day outside, and it's going to stay that way as we head into the afternoon. We'll still see wind chills around the 40s for this evening. As we head into tonight and early tomorrow morning, we are going to see our wind chills dip back into the 30s, and then we start to see our wind chills climb back into the 40s by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for the parade. We have Virginia Tech playing at Duke tomorrow. It's a night game, so it's going to be chilly out there. Not terrible, though. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s for much of the game. If you're tailgating, temperatures will be in the 50s. We do begin to warm up, though. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be back around 60 for the high, and then as we get into Sunday, we'll be back in the mid-60s once again. Early next week, we've got some upper 60s, potentially nearing 70 degrees. Jeff and Renee.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, family and friends of Hanya Aguilar are speaking out today after the guilty verdict in her murder case. Gilbert Bays is in court, and we are hearing from those closest to Aguilar. We heard from her mother and a close family friend. We'll begin with her mother.
She said she also wants to say thank you to the whole community, everybody that's been involved in this case from the very beginning. Everybody who was present. I can't thank you one by one. But this is a form of thank you to everybody. To the justice system that made this possible. And the entire community on the outside of North Carolina and in North Carolina.
Moving forward now, how does the community go on now this is over?
Hopefully everybody is going to be happy. I think Hanya can rest in peace today. And I think the family will have peace in their hearts. It will be still sadness because we will miss her. We miss her. Nobody can replace her anymore. But she will live in our hearts for the rest of our lives.
And Michael McClellan killed Aguilar back in 2018. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And coming up at 12:30, we are hearing from more family and friends in the courtroom. We are also getting video of him as well.
Some resolution 6 years later, but still that pain, that loss never goes away.
Her whole life ahead of her.
A new social media platform has gained millions of followers in just the last few weeks. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, why many of its users are calling it an alternative to Twitter and how it differs from other apps.
Then at 5 o'clock, 5 on your side shows us what was found above a food prep area of one restaurant that could have contaminated food. It's time to apply for federal student aid for college. This year's online FAFSA form is now open for students seeking financial aid for college during the 2025 to 26 school year. Traditionally, the form is available October 1st, but the Department of Education delayed the release. The holdup was an effort to avoid a repeat of last year's rocky rollout after making significant updates to the application. MIT is offering free tuition to undergraduate students whose families earn less than $200,000 a year. MIT will also cover additional costs like housing, fees, and personal expenses for those earning less than $100,000 per year. The offer will begin for the 2025-26 academic school year. The current yearly tuition before aid is nearly $86,000.
Payment apps and digital wallets will soon have to abide by new rules. The rules by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will give federal officials more oversight of apps processing at least 50 million transactions a year. That includes Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. This should give people more control over their data and easier ways to dispute incorrect or fraudulent transactions. Apple is working on a more conversational version of Siri as it tries to catch up to ChatGPT and other digital voice assistants. The new Siri uses more advanced large language models to allow for a back and forth conversation. Apple has been testing the upgraded software on iPhones, iPads, and Macs. The company would announce the overhaul as soon as next year.
We're staying on top of breaking news out of Robeson County this noon. A guilty plea in the 6-year-old murder case of Hanya Aguilar. We'll hear more from the family and friends in the courtroom.
Plus, a unique program is helping to equip dads with the skills to advocate for women during childbirth. How the founder sought purpose through pain. Here are the winning lottery numbers, and we'll be back.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And happening right now in the WRAL Life Center, family members and friends of Hanya Aguilar are speaking out after a guilty verdict was reached in her murder case today. Michael McClellan was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. We have crews at the courthouse. This is McClellan leaving court to start his life sentence. You can see he's dressed in a white suit with a white tie there. He's already spent more than 2,000 days in jail. He will serve a life sentence. Gilbert Bays is in court. He's been speaking with family members and friends of Hanya. We heard from her cousin. Take a listen.
I've grieved her every day. I've missed her. My family misses her. We've loved her. It's sad. 6 years ago, we lost a piece of our heart. She was my best friend. Today, she should have been 19. Like I said earlier, she was looking forward to the future. That December of that year, she was supposed to get her braces off. We had been talking about her quinceañera. She wanted a yellow dress. But instead, that December, she had a funeral, and she was buried in a yellow dress. And now she's forever 13.
And clearly so much emotion happening in that courtroom today. Again, Michael McClellan sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. We are still in court. We are still talking to family members and friends. We'll bring you the latest from the Live Center.
Michelle, thanks. As you prepare for Thanksgiving, experts say you should also protect yourself and your family from getting sick. According to the CDC, RSV cases are elevated in the U.S., especially among young children. COVID-19 cases are stable or declining in most areas, and flu activity remains low as well. Keep in mind, those numbers tend to change after big holiday gatherings. So prevent the spread of germs by getting vaccinated, washing your hands, and covering your mouth when you sneeze.
This week, the Republican-led legislature approved dozens of changes stripping power from the governor and other state offices won by Democrats in this year's elections. Critics call it an unconstitutional power grab, and those critics even include a former Republican governor who weighed in last night. WRAL state government reporter Will Dern is here with us right now, covering all the action this week. And Will, let's start with what you reported last night about Pat McCrory's comments.
Yeah, he says that this bill is not only unconstitutional, it is also a rejection of the will of the voters, that these changes are not what people voted for when they went to the polls just a few weeks ago. And he said that both political parties should stop playing games with the administrations of elections, that it hurts confidence in our system. And it's not just McCrory saying this. We heard the same from Democrats in the state legislature.
They're power grabs, plain and simple. And what's happening here is crystal clear. You're punishing people for voting a certain way.
All right, so let's talk about some of the changes we're seeing here. What are the main ones that this bill would enact if it does become law?
Yeah, so the biggest one would be taking power over the state elections board away from the governor. This is something that Republicans have been trying to do for nearly a decade now, and their attempts keep getting struck down as unconstitutional in court. But they think that this newest strategy will survive a lawsuit, and yes, this likely will end up in court if it does become law.
This bill, in my opinion, will pass constitutional muster, and it's good for the state.
Now, it's not just the governor who is being targeted here. The bill also strips away powers from incoming Democrats like Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt, Superintendent of Schools Mo Green, and Attorney General Jeff Jackson as well.
So lots of big changes to the balance of power in state government if this new bill becomes law, right? So tonight at 7, we'll go in depth with Dan on this same topic. You can tune in then for a closer look at everything being proposed.
President-elect Donald Trump's re-election sent crypto markets soaring, but analysts say it also created a tempting new target for online scammers. Eben Brown examines why banks are having trouble finding a solution.
Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have been spiking in value since the election, with Donald Trump promising to be a pro-crypto president. And while the market hit a new high this week, it is also creating a big uptick in online scams. In the past year alone, more than $5.5 billion was lost to crypto fraud, with scammers relying on tried-and-true schemes like password hacking and phishing emails.
Crypto gets a rap of being very complex. And when you take away the thought that it's complex, it's really not when you compare it to what we're used to. It's the same things we need to do.
Abrigo makes software to help banks detect financial crimes. They say older Americans are getting hit the worst with so-called sweetheart scams, targeting seniors at record levels, largely because they don't have the tools to recognize that type of fraud.
They develop these relationships over long periods of time, gain the trust, they're in love, you need to send me crypto of all things before I can come marry you. Many of these are senior citizens and they don't understand crypto.
But it's still not clear what the solution could be. Banks have resisted regulations on cryptocurrency, citing the cost, while law enforcement is pushing for more guardrails to stop crypto from being used for money laundering and ransom payments.
The law enforcement aspect of it really wants some drive. So now with the regime change in Washington, we'll see what happens.
Meta says it has removed 2 million accounts this year linked to pig butchering investment scams. The social media giant says overseas scammers pose as friendly or attractive individuals or trusted public figures. They target their victims through text, social media, email, or even dating apps. Meta says after building trust, the scammers manipulate victims into sending money, often in cryptocurrency, to invest in schemes. While there's no manual for parenthood, a specialized program helps dads-to-be get ready for the most important job of their lives, how they're empowering men to fully engage in the birthing process.
And who's a fan of military meals that are ready to eat? Bears. Where and how they were able to have this feast. You can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. The movie-going box office is down about 11% this year compared to last year, but it's likely to get a very big boost starting today.
That's because Wicked is expected to cast a spell that brings a lot of folks back to theaters. Mark Barger explains how another film may have a similar impact.
Let me tell you the whole story.
A story that's been told on stage for years.
I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, and I've seen it about 7 times.
Begins a new chapter today.
Come with me. What? To meet the wizard. It's been part of our childhood since like forever.
As the film version of Wicked hits theaters.
We are also those Wicked fans. So it's been so beloved by so many for so many years.
And as much as moviegoers are fired up for the film,
I think I'll try defying gravity. I'm so excited.
the stars' anticipation is palpable as well.
To be able to be a part of it and to finally be able to share this little secret that we've been holding on to for 3 odd years is crazy.
Wicked arrives on the same weekend as the long-awaited sequel, Gladiator 2, setting up a box office duel reminiscent of last year's Barbenheimer showdown.
Looking probably at over $1 million in advance sales, even before we get into the weekend.
Nationwide, some forecasts have Wicked taking in $100 million through Sunday.
It still hasn't processed to me that so many people are going to view it. But
Jocelyn, please.
Yeah, please, we're begging.
It's entirely possible
Wicked!
begging won't be necessary. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Just let them sing, okay? Industry forecasters expect Gladiator 2 to bring in around $65 million this weekend.
So go see Glicked. Next week, many Americans will gather around a huge meal to give thanks. But one man will be somewhere paddling on the water. Why he feels called to make this journey. Plus,
I want to make sure that all the mothers, that all our clients that we have do not go through any traumatic birth.
We'll take you to a class that's giving men the knowledge they need to support women during the birthing process. White Lake and white puffy clouds right there above it. This is our live camera in Bladen County that you're looking at right now and watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Cool breeze off that lake.
a father in St. Louis, Missouri is on a mission to help other fathers understand and be present during the birthing process. He partnered with a longtime friend and certified doula to create the Dads to Doula 6-week training course. NBC's Zincle Asamoah reports.
Brad Edwards was preparing to welcome his first children, twin boys, into the world in 2017 with his then girlfriend.
I thought we were just going to have a normal pregnancy. I quickly learned that that wasn't going to be the case.
Both babies died due to complications in childbirth.
I didn't know if there's anything that I could have done differently.
Now, the 38-year-old is determined to educate other black men about the birthing process.
Make sure that we're communicating on.
In his grief, he connected with longtime friend Kyra Betts, who happens to be a doula. A doula is a trained professional who provides non-medical, emotional, and physical support to birthing people before, during, and after childbirth.
He asked me if I wanted to help other dads in the way that I've helped him, and I said, sure, what do you mean?
Betts and Edwards launched the first of several 6-week training programs in St. Louis, Missouri through the nonprofit Fearless Fathers.
We talked about seizures, we talked about what eclampsia actually is.
We stopped by one of their Dads to Doulas courses.
I'm going to be a first-time dad coming up sometime next year. Well, my primary reason for being here is just to soak up as much knowledge as I can because I'm very nervous.
I wanted to be a part of something that was serving the community.
The need in the black community is high. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth compared to their white counterparts, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. During the 6-week course, men go through real-life medical scenarios.
One afternoon, you notice that she is still taking the pain medication from a C-section. What do you do?
The men leave with a certificate of completion, and some hope to become doulas, like DeAndre Miller, who says he got certified with his wife.
I want to make sure that all the mothers that all our clients that we have do not go through any traumatic birth. We're not used to seeing this type of unity of men coming together, especially families seeing, I'm sorry to say, black men.
Edwards hopes his program and others like it will encourage men to reframe a father's role in the birthing and delivery process.
I know in my father's generation, we'll go in the parking lot, we'll smoke a cigar, we'll have a drink. My thing to men now is, you don't know if you go out to the parking lot that there'll be a child to hold in that delivery room, or if there'll be a mother to hug and kiss and celebrate with.
Today, Edwards is a father to 2 healthy young children, and he hopes these courses will breathe more new life for Black families.
Brad, do you wish you had a program like this in 2017? Do you think it would have made a difference?
Yeah, without a doubt. Thank you for asking that question. That's the first time I've thought about that. But yeah, there's definitely, I think, maybe a different outcome or something different that would have helped us both had I had this opportunity.
Zinclea Samoa, NBC News.
And in that report, you heard Zinclea talk about the troubling statistic from the CDC that Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth compared to their white counterparts. The WRAL documentary unit wanted answers, so they explored the topic in a special called Critical Term. You can watch it on WRALdoc.com.
A 23-year-old canoeist is taking the journey of a lifetime. Peter Frank is paddling 6,000 miles to complete the so-called Great Loop route. The goal is to complete the route. It's a continuous waterway, including parts of the Atlantic and Gulf intracoastal waterways and the Great Lakes. Frank says this is a journey to express his gratitude for surviving a horrific car crash nearly a decade ago.
This journey to me is my form of worship. It's my form of showing the appreciation for being alive and being able to walk and do the things that I can do. I'm grateful to be out here and to share this story, and in some regard I feel that I have a responsibility to document the things that I experience for people who don't get to experience them.
Frank's journey is expected to take about 17 months to complete.
Good luck. Well, from paddling to another recreational sport, maybe skiing, snowboarding. Kat, I knew you would find snow somehow, somewhere. And this is, of course, in Western North Carolina.
And I just saw Sugar Mountain is opening for the season. Pretty remarkable. I mean, they got some decent snow. And I know many folks in the mountains are just hoping to kind of kickstart the season early, help out the economy after all they've been through with Helene. This is a live look at Appalachian Ski Mountain right now. You can see some snow on the slopes, cold enough for them to make some snow as well. None of that here locally. It's just the chill that we're experiencing. And tomorrow morning, we've got the Raleigh Christmas Parade. At least it'll feel festive. Temperatures will be in the 40s. It's going to be breezy. So if you are participating in the parade and lining up early, it may feel more like the upper 30s. Now, in comparison to previous years, it's actually not going to be all that bad in terms of the cold for the parade tomorrow morning. Our forecast low is 42 degrees. The average is 38. Technically, we are above normal tomorrow. And then the record low is 18. That was set back in 1971. So luckily not that cold for the parade goers and performers tomorrow. We do still have some snow up in West Virginia. For us, that cold front is long gone. Still some upper level energy swinging through the area today. And that's what's bringing some of the cloud cover that you've seen out there today. The next system that we're tracking will arrive just in time for Thanksgiving. So we could have some travel issues as we head into Thanksgiving Day. Wednesday, Tuesday both look like better travel days compared to Thursday itself. We may begin to see this moving in from the west, and that could be with us into the morning hours of Black Friday, but we may see some improvements later on in the day. As for how much rain we could see over the next week, it's not looking like a ton of rain, but there could be up to about an inch in our northwestern counties, closer to 1/4 of an inch south and east of Raleigh. But the heaviest rain does look like it is going to stay off to our west. If you are traveling around North Carolina, Tuesday we'll have some spotty showers around. Wednesday is a very popular travel day, and luckily Wednesday looks pretty good for travel. Rain possible Thursday and early Friday, but the weekend looks pretty good at this point in time. Of course, this is an early look at Thanksgiving travel. I just know there's a lot of interest in it. We'll keep you up to date with more concrete rain timelines in the coming days. 47 degrees right now. We've got quite a bit of cloud cover hanging out across the area. The sunset tonight is going to be shortly after 5 o'clock. If you're headed out for a dog walk, our highs today just in the low 50s or in the mid 40s by 8 o'clock tonight, quickly dipping down into the low 40s by daybreak tomorrow. It's a breezy day for the Raleigh Christmas parade, but the breeze is mainly going to be early in the morning. It settles down Saturday night, so by Sunday morning we could see a frost. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s, back up to 65 Sunday afternoon, nearing 70 early next week, and just a 30% chance of rain Tuesday. But that chance does increase by Thanksgiving. Because it's a cold front, there is a lot of uncertainty temperature-wise for Thanksgiving Day.
Some bears didn't want to wait till Thanksgiving. They treated themselves to a bit of an early meal here, where the military is working to replace a battlefield buffet now.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. We are staying on top of breaking news. A Robeson County man pleaded guilty to the murder of 13-year-old Hania Aguilar. Michael McClellan was scheduled to appear in court in Robeson County at 11 this morning, where he admitted to kidnapping Hania, killing her, and disposing of her body. McClellan was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Two men charged with killing a woman outside a cookout restaurant in Durham appeared in court this morning. Around 9:30 this morning, deputies announced they arrested 3 men in the death of Devicia Lee. 23-year-old Alexander Carlton Jr. and Calvin Spence Jr. appeared in court this morning. Morrisville police took a third person into custody, another 18-year-old named Jamari McKnight. Carlton Jr. and Spence Jr. received no bond. McKnight is set to appear later today in Wake County.
RDU is preparing for the busy Thanksgiving holiday travel season. You may remember the airport broke another holiday traffic record over Labor Day. More than 188,000 passengers traveled through RDU during the Labor Day weekend, and nearly 1.5 million traveled through RDU last month. RDU expects a high volume of travelers over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. Cashin is a 2-year-old neutered male dog weighing 54 pounds. He has a friendly and gentle personality, a glowing smile to boot. Cashin seems to like other dogs and usually tries to invite them to play when he sees them around the SPCA. For more information, you can visit spcawake.org.
A new social media platform has gained millions of followers in just the last few weeks. Coming up at 4, why many of its users are calling it an alternative to Twitter and how it differs from other apps.
NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We will see you tomorrow morning. Our live coverage of the parade starts at 9.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.